Social factors in sport. In this video, I'm going to take you through the social aspects surrounding a sports performer operating at an elite level, identifying positives and negative effects along the way. Starting with parents. Looking at the well-being of an athlete, parents can have a positive effect and a negative effect on the progression of their child. Wileman and colleagues 2000 have stated that the support of parents is essential to a child's participation and success in sports. Parents are often the primary socialising catalyst for their child's involvement, and as explained by Hemery, 1986, often teach the first steps referring to sport skills, with many young elite athletes emphasise the supportive influence of their parents during their career. The demands that have been placed upon parents for their child's success are high, with parents having to provide with two critical resources when it comes to their child's success: money and time. With both of them dependent on jobs and income into their family, poor jobs means low income, whereas highly paid jobs decreases the time spent with their family, thus acquiring an external factor to fit in their place, such as wealthy schools where opportunities come more frequently, or private coaching. Parental pressure in sport. Pressure was defined by Leff and Hoyle, 1997, as parental behaviours that symbolise high or even unattainable expectations in the minds of the child athletes. Pressure in child participation in sport can make or break an athlete, with studies supporting the latter. The effect of parental expectations was found to depend on athletes' perceptions of parents' expectations and whether the athlete felt that he or she was living up to the perceived or the expressed parental expectations. A study performed by McCarthy and Jones 2007 states that a common experience for a child athlete is parental over-involvement, and has been highlighted as parents shouting at athletes during competitions, which increased pressure on the child athletes. Hill et al. 2010 states that pressure is a getaway for several psychological aspects affecting a child athlete, one of which is a term known as choking. Choking in sport is a significant decline in the performance of the athlete operating under pressurised conditions, which can limit their sporting achievements in the long term. I am hard on him. I find it quite effective to swear at him if he's played badly. Then I give him a right going over. Not the type of pressure that an athlete wants to hear from their parents on the sideline. However, Gagne et al. 2003 has stated that pressure from parents may not be such a bad thing for success from athletes, and that parents who enforce succession create an atmosphere for the child in which they will become fearful of failure. This is supported by Boyce and colleagues 2009, who reported a positive relationship between athlete parental pressure and the anxiety state measured of the athlete prior to a single athletic event. Talent versus opportunity. Studies have shown that children with families with high income can afford and access more and better opportunities in the future, setting their career up for elite level. In the build-up to the 2012 Olympics, it was said that athletes who are educated at independent fee-paying schools are more likely to succeed in elite sport and be overrepresented among medal-winning athletes in global competitions, such as the Beijing Olympics in 2008. 50% of gold medal-winning athletes attended private education. For example, Sir Chris Hoy, who won gold at Beijing and London, attending George Watson College in Edinburgh, which is a fee-paying school. So is talent shadowed by opportunity? Duncan et al. 2004 suggests that a higher socio-economic status is linked with higher involvement in physical activity. In addition, Wilson 2002 supports this by claiming that a higher educational attainment and family income contribute to higher involvement in physical activity, and that adolescents from a low socioeconomic background are twice as likely to be overweight compared to their higher upper middle class counterparts. Duncan et al. 2002-2004 reported that young people with high socioeconomic status spent more time in moderate and physical activities than young people from a low socioeconomic background. Also, they reported that young people from low economic section experience greater barriers to attain financial support, access to the better facilities, and find themselves in a worse environment to compete or take part in sport than students from a higher economic status. The birthplace effect. Côté and colleagues 2006 identified that the birthplace effect is related to where or when an athlete is born, influencing their likelihood of playing professional sport. Studies from Baker and Logan 2007 and Côté 2006 shows that male athletes who are born in cities of less than 500,000 people are more likely to play a professional sport and attain a higher level than athletes born in larger cities. Researchers identified the reasons for this is that players have a greater amount of independence and safety, more personal relationship with coaches and athletes, and a bigger approach towards sport participation, being involved in schools, families, and the community. The small to medium-sized community may provide fertile ground for play, participation, and the competitive experience during the early years of participation, with less likelihood of imposing constraints of the athlete's well-being or progression. However, in more recent studies conducted by Shaw at 2010, show that larger cities were just as effective in producing elite athletes as smaller cities. Also being argued that larger cities can provide the athletes with greater conditions for training in, such as equipment and facilities, and possibly a greater selection of coaches. Finally, we move on to environment, which also has an impact of social factors surrounding an athlete's development. David and Baker 2007 have stated that while nature refers to the characteristics that an individual contributes towards their performance, nurture makes up those qualities that result from the athlete's experience. Environmental factors have a tremendous influence on learning and performance. Foster and Hillsdon 2004 explained that psychologists see the environment as constructed through the individual's perceptions and experiences, whilst also adding how ecologists focus on how the environment affects the athlete's participation and behaviour. An example being the difference between training for a game and playing the game. Training has a more relaxed atmosphere. If something goes wrong, then it is fixed in a training session with no repercussions. However, on a game day, if a mistake is made, it can be the difference between winning a game and losing a game. Research by Cavanagh 2014 has concluded that elite adult athletes can experience maltreatment within high-performance environments, and such treatment can have the potential to make long-term negative effects on athlete well-being and continued participation in sport. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this gives you more of an insight on the social barriers that athletes face daily from younger years to elite level.